guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Tilly and today I'm going to be talking you through my July TBR. You may also be able to tell from my mini ears that it is also my Magical Hopathon TBR. So if you're not aware what Magical Hopathon is, it's a Disney park inspired readathon that is hosted by Rachel Cerys. I'm going to leave a link to Rachel's channel as well as the video where she explains this round of the Magical Hopathon down in the description down below. So please make sure you check out her channel and the video explaining if you are interested in taking part. So there are 3 books that I'm hoping to get on my TBR this month, and those are Nectar of the Wicked by Ellis Fields, The Darkness Between Us by Trisha Levenseller, which I don't have yet physically, so I'll insert a graphic here, and also The God and the Gumiho by Sophie Kim, which again I don't own physically, so I'll leave it on screen somewhere for you now. I'm not going to tell you why I want to get those books on my TBR. If you've watched some of my videos before, you can probably guess. So those are the books that I definitely need to get on my TBR. As you guys may be aware, as I've mentioned it once or twice, Tim and I are going to Disney at the end of September and I am so excited. So when I saw that Rachel was doing another round of Magical Hopathon, I knew I definitely needed to participate, as I think it will just get me even more excited about the trip. So the first prompt is to gain our entry to the park, so our park entry ticket, and that is to read a book that you can't stop thinking about. So for that prompt, I have selected Can't Spell Treason Without Tea by Rebecca Thorne, as this is a book that I've heard so much about. Everyone seems to be talking about this one and it just sounds absolutely perfect. It's a cozy fantasy with LGBT representation, so it sounds absolutely fantastic. But the plot of this one, in case you are interested, Raina and Kianthe dream of opening a cozy bookshop filled with warmth, tea and cakes. Despite Raina being an elite bodyguard to a vengeful queen and Kianthe the most powerful mage, they flee their demanding lives to the town of Tawny in Dragon Country. There they realise their dream and open the bookstore. Their new life is filled with mishaps, mysteries, dragons and the queen's murderous rage. Amidst the chaos, Raina and Kianthe discover the depth of their relationship and their significance to the world. As I said, I think this just sounds absolutely perfect. It sounds really cozy and I'm here for all of the reads about bookshops. I should probably also explain that I picked out one prompt for each of the different parks. So I've done one attraction, one snack and one show. So for Magic Kingdom, I've decided to go for the Tron Lightcycle prompt. I feel like I'm going to be too much of a scaredy cat to actually ride Tron, even though it looks really cool. I'm sure Tim will definitely be going on that one, so I can live vicariously through him. I'm not a massive roller coaster fan, but the prompt for that one is to read a newer release, so 2023 onwards. And so for that prompt, I have decided to select The God and the Gumiho by Sophie Kim. So this is an adult fantasy romance based on Korean mythology, which was released in 2024. And again, I don't own it physically, so I will leave on screen here for you now. Kim Hanny, once feared as the notorious Scarlet Fox for devouring souls, has retired to a quieter life working in a coffee shop. Her peace is disrupted by Sokoa the Fallen, a trickster god exiled to the mortal realm who annoys her endlessly despite his charm. When a powerful demon threatens humanity, Sokoa is offered a chance at redemption to kill the demon and capture the elusive Scarlet Fox. Reluctantly teaming up, Hanny plans to sabotage Sokoa's effort to uncover her true identity while assisting in the mission. As they navigate a chaotic path of violence and deception, their partnership deepens unexpectedly. Yet with secrets looming between them, they must decide whether to unite against the impending apocalypse or let their differences tear them apart and endanger the world in the process. I do think that sounds absolutely fantastic. I'm really excited to give that one a read. I love mythology in general and I think Korean mythology just sounds really interesting. So next we have the snack prompt for Magic Kingdom, and that is Dole Whip. I'm so excited to try Dole Whip for the first time. I have had something very similar to a Dole Whip when we went to Chester Zoo, which was really tasty, so I'm really excited to try Disney's version. But the prompt for this one that is to read a Booktube favourite. So for that prompt I've selected A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Brigid Kemmerer. I don't know about you, but there was a time on Booktube where I just saw this everywhere and I really can't believe that I haven't got to this one yet. This is a YA fantasy romance Beauty and the Beast retelling that was a Booktube favourite back in 2019. Prince Ren of Emberfall is cursed by an enchantress to relive the autumn of his 18th year repeatedly, transforming into a monstrous beast. Desperate for redemption, he believes his curse can be broken if a girl falls in love with him. Harper, toughened by her family struggles and cerebral palsy, inadvertently enters Emberfall while trying to save a stranger in Washington, D.C. Confused by the magical realm and its challenges, Harper discovers the truth about Ren's curse and the kingdom's peril. As she grows closer to Ren, he finds hope in her presence beyond breaking the curse. However, formidable adversaries threaten Emberfall, requiring more than love to save their world from destruction. I do think this sounds really interesting. As I said, it's been a Booktube favourite, so I'm really intrigued to find out why. I also think the representation sounds fantastic, so I'm really excited to give this one a go. Then for the Magic Kingdom show, I have selected Festival of Fantasy, which again I'm really excited to actually see in person, and the prompt for this is to read a colourful book. So for that one I have selected another Booktube favourite, which is The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. I thought this beautiful broken binding edition of the new covers looks absolutely colourful and beautiful. Like I said, this is the beautiful broken binding edition, so we've also got some beautiful colourful sprayed pages, so I think this book fits that prompt absolutely perfectly. So this is a popular YA dystopian novel if you're not sure. So Samantha Shannon has released an edited version for this book's 10th year anniversary, and the one I'm holding in my hand is that edited version, which I'm going to be reading. Set in 2059, the Republic of Sion has enforced strict anti-unnatural laws against Europe for 2 centuries. Paige Mahoney thrives in London's criminal underworld as the right hand of the formidable White Binder. She possesses a rare clairvoyant ability as a dreamwalker, which under Scion's rule classify her as a traitor. After Paige is arrested for murder, she discovers the hidden leaders of Scion, who are intrigued by her unique powers. To survive and escape captivity, Paige must employ all of her skills and reluctantly form alliances with unexpected allies, navigating a treacherous world where trust is scarce and betrayal lurks at every turn. I've always thought that this sounds absolutely fantastic, and I've always been so intrigued by this, so I really hope that this is the month that I finally get to it. Then hopefully I will be making my way over to Epcot. I'm so excited to visit Epcot for the first time. It's always been the park that's really intrigued me, as it has all of these different pavilions which are based on different places within the world, and I just think that sounds so fantastic. So for the attraction for Epcot I have picked Living Off the Land, which is to read a book that is less than 300 pages. And so for that prompt I have picked Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshigatsu Kawaguchi. I think that's how I'm pronouncing that. I'm really sorry for my pronunciation. So this is a Japanese translated magical realism book that is 213 pages. I'm also going to take off my mini ears because they're slowly falling off my head. And the synopsis for this one: a quaint cafe in Tokyo offers its patrons a unique opportunity to travel back in time. Over the course of the story we meet 4 individuals, each with a poignant reason for wanting to use this extraordinary service: to confront a past love who abandoned them, to receive a letter from a spouse lost to Alzheimer's, to see a deceased sister once more, and to meet the daughter they never had the chance to know. However, this journey into the past is not without its constraints and risks. Customers must sit in a specific seat, remain in the cafe, and return to the present before their coffee gets cold. I just think this book sounds absolutely fascinating. I definitely think I'll have to remember to bring the tissues, as I'm sure this one is very emotional and will make me cry probably. But I've heard nothing but good things about this, so I'm really excited to hopefully get to this one in July. And then for the snack I have selected the Food and Wine Festival prompt. So I'm actually going to Disney when Food and Wine is on, and I absolutely cannot wait. So the Food and Wine Festival is where they have different booths at each of the different pavilions, and you can basically eat around the world, which sounds absolutely awesome, and I'm so excited to do it. So I couldn't help but pick this as one of my prompts. And the prompt for this is to pick a random book off of your TBR. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to limit it to this room, and I'm going to do a random number generator, and I think I'm going to do it out of 200. I think there's probably more than 200 books in this room, but I think that's a fair number. Okay, so hopefully that is showing and you can see, and if I press generate, we have got 46. So I'm going to count 46 books and we will see what I get. Okay, interesting. The 46th book is also, funnily enough, one on my 24 in 24 list. So I'm actually really happy that this one got selected, and that is The Diviners by Libba Bray. So this is a fantasy book, and let me read you the synopsis. It's 1920s New York City, it's flappers and follies, jazz and gin. It's after the war but before the Depression. It's the opportunity to party like never before. Evie O'Neill moves from a small town Ohio to the big, gleaming, glamorous city. This is her chance to show how modern and incredibly daring she can be. But she soon discovers that New York has a darker side. Young women are being murdered across the city in gruesome, calculated ways. New York City police can't solve these murders alone, and Evie has a secret that could help them. Her mysterious power is what chased her out of Ohio, but facing the knowledge of what she can do is essential in catching the killer, if he doesn't catch her first. I do still think that this sounds absolutely fascinating, and I'm so intrigued to give this a read. I don't know why I haven't got to it yet, so I'm really happy that this is being added to the TBR. And then lastly for Epcot we have our show, which is Voices of Liberty, and this prompt is to read a book with a beautiful cover, so I couldn't help but put Nectar of the Wicked by Ella Fields in for this prompt because this very new edition is absolutely beautiful. Look at the pages, and I just think this artwork is absolutely beautiful. So this is an adult fantasy romance with fae, and our protagonist finds herself trapped in the Middle Lands, a desolate region between the human kingdom and the fairy realms, after her guardian is killed by the Wild Hunt. Left abandoned and betrayed, she ventures into fairy, seeking answers about her origins and the depths left by her guardian. Her journey takes a treacherous turn when she becomes indebted to the madam at the Lair of Lust, forcing her into a precarious situation. A fairy king offers her a tantalising deal. He promises to fulfil her desires and take her to fairy in exchange for a blood vow to marry him. Initially seduced by his charm and promises, she soon discovers the true, darker motives behind his proposal. As she navigates the wintry realm of King Florian, her initial wonder turns to fear and hatred as she uncovers his manipulative schemes and ruthless ambitions. Trapped in a dangerous game where her survival depends on unravelling the secrets of the fairy court, she must protect her own heart from the allure of the cunning and powerful King Florian. In a world where deception and desire intertwine, she must uncover the truth about her past and the true nature of the fairy king before she succumbs to his deadly intentions. I do think this sounds fantastic. I love a story with fae. I find them such interesting creatures, and I really love what different authors do with those folktale stories, so I'm really intrigued to see what this one is like. Then we move on to Hollywood Studios, which I'm also really excited to go to because it has a whole Star Wars area, and if you didn't know about me, it is that I love Star Wars. I grew up watching the old school movies as my dad was a really big fan, so I'm so excited to go to that part of the park. And so for the attractions prompt, I couldn't help but pick Rise of the Resistance, which is one of the Star Wars rides, and this is to read a sci-fi or fantasy book. So for this prompt I decided to pick The Darkness Within Us by Trisha Levenseller, which again I don't own physically yet, so I will insert a graphic here. So this is the second book in the Shadow Between Us series. This is a YA fantasy romance book. I haven't read book 1 yet, so I feel like I need to get my hands on and read that first, so that will also probably automatically have to go on this TBR as well. So the synopsis for the first book, as I don't know whether the synopsis for the second book contains spoilers, Alessandra is determined to rise from obscurity by marrying the newly crowned Shadow King and then seizing his kingdom for herself. In a world where the Shadow King's mysterious powers are both feared and revered, Alessandra sees an opportunity to wield ultimate power. She plans to charm him, marry him, and then dispose of him to secure her place as queen. However, Alessandra soon discovers she's not the only one with designs on the Shadow King's throne. Amidst multiple assassination attempts, she finds herself unexpectedly protecting him in order to ensure he can fulfill his promise to make her queen. As she navigates the deadly intrigues of his court life, Alessandra struggles to maintain her ruthless facade while grappling with conflicting emotions. Caught between ambition and unexpected feelings for the Shadow King, Alessandra must decide how far she's willing to go to achieve her goals. In a game where deception and desire intertwine, she risks losing not only her heart but also her life in her quest for power and love. I do think that synopsis sounds really good and I'm so intrigued. So yeah, I definitely think I need to pick up book 1 and read it before I get to book 2. And then for the snack, I've selected frozen cola. I have to admit, I've never had a frozen cola before. I'm very intrigued by it and I think I might have to give it a go while I'm in Disney. I was so confused about what a frozen cola was and I asked Tim because I was just picturing this block of frozen Coke that he explained to me is probably like a slushies, which makes a lot of sense. But the prompt for that one is to read a book with summer vibes, and so for that one I have picked Beach Read by Emily Henry, as I don't think it gets much more summery than this. So this is an adult contemporary romance following August Everett, a broody literary author, and January Andrews, a best-selling romance novelist, who find themselves living next to each other on a beach for 3 months. Despite their stark differences in writing styles and personalities, they strike a deal to help each other overcome their writer's block. Augustus will attempt to write a happy story while January tackles a serious novel. Their arrangement leads them on an unconventional adventures. January takes August on romantic escapades straight out of a rom-com, while Augustus introduces January to interviews with survivors of a remote death cult. As they delve into these contrasting experiences, both aim to finish their books without succumbing to the cliches of falling in love. Set against a backdrop of creative challenges and unexpected outings, Augustus and January navigate their growing respect for each other's crafts and their own evolving feelings. Despite their initial agreement to avoid romance, they find themselves drawn closer, blurring the lines between fiction and reality in their own love story. I do again think this sounds absolutely perfect and I'm really excited to pick this one up, hopefully when there's some lovely summery weather during July. And then for the show, I couldn't help but pick Fantasmic. It's probably the show that I'm the most excited about seeing. If you're not sure what Fantasmic is, it's this show performed on water, so they have barges and costumes and lighting and it just looks absolutely fantastic, so I'm so excited to be able to see it in person. This prompt is to read a book by a favourite author, and so for this I have decided to pick Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. Again, I don't own this physically just yet, so I'm going to leave a graphic on screen for you, and this is a adult contemporary romance book that features women in STEM. Rue Seibert, a biotech engineer at the successful startup company Klein, enjoys a stable life until a hostile takeover led by Eli Kilgore threatens everything she's worked for. Eli, determined to acquire Klein, finds himself drawn to Rue, despite knowing she's off limits due to their professional rivalry. As Rue and Eli navigate their intense attraction, they engage in a secret, no-strings-attached affair amidst the high-stakes world of corporate takeovers. Their relationship is complicated by loyalty to their companies and the looming deadline when one will emerge victorious. However, their hearts prove unpredictable, challenging their initial intentions and raising the stakes in a game where winning may mean losing what truly matters. I absolutely love Ali Hazelwood's writing style. I loved the Love Hypothesis, Love on the Brain, Love Theoretically. I think controversially, Love Theoretically was my favourite and the one that I gave 5 stars. So I'm really excited to see what's next by Ali Hazelwood and to read this one as soon as it's in my hands. I have ordered the Illumicrate edition of Not in Love, so I'm really hoping that it gets to me in July so that I can read it as part of this readathon. And then lastly, I'm hoping to make my way over to Animal Kingdom as part of this readathon. I am really excited to go to Animal Kingdom in person. I mean, I'm excited for everything, as you can probably tell. However, Animal Kingdom not only has a safari, it also has a part of the world that is inspired by Avatar, which just looks absolutely incredible, and I'm so excited to go there, especially at night, and also ride the the rides, as I've heard that they are absolutely incredible. So for the attraction prompt, I couldn't help but pick Flight of Passage, as I've heard so many amazing things about that ride, and I think it's the ride that I'm probably the most excited for. And for that prompt, it is to read a 5-star prediction, and so for that I have decided to pick the Fragile Threads of Power by B.E. Schwab. So this is an adult fantasy novel which is set in the same universe and after the events of the Shades of Magic series. I absolutely love that series so much, so I'm really excited to read more within that world. I can't, however, give you the synopsis of this book without giving you spoilers, so what I've decided to do instead is to give you the synopsis of A Darker Shade of Magic, in the hopes that if you haven't read it, you will, because it is absolutely fantastic and I loved it so much. Kel, a rare Antari magician able to travel between parallel Londons, serves as an ambassador for the Marish Empire in Red London. Unofficially, he smuggles magical artifacts between worlds, a risky endeavour that lands him in trouble when a routine exchange goes wrong. Fleeing to Grey London, he encounters Delilah Bard, a skilled thief with grand ambitions. After a rocky start, they join forces to navigate a treacherous world of dangerous magic and political intrigue. To protect their worlds from impending peril, they must survive deadly enemies and uncover betrayals that threaten to unravel everything they know. Oh, it just brings me back to the start, and I absolutely love this series. Cannot recommend highly enough, so if you haven't read it, please go read it and let me know what you think of it. Then for the snack, I'm sticking with the Avatar theme, and so I'm picking the Night Blossom. The prompt for that is to pick an Instagram worthy book. For that, I couldn't help but pick the Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. This is the paperback. I also have the hardback just up here, which I would argue are both Instagram worthy, as I think they're absolutely beautiful covers. So this is a YA fantasy romance series set after the events of Caraval. This is also the second book in the series, so again I can't really give you the synopsis of this one without giving spoilers. However, I will give you the synopsis for the first book within the series, which is Once Upon a Broken Heart. Evangeline Fox, a believer in true love and happy ending, faces heartbreak when the love of her life prepares to marry another. Desperate to thwart the wedding and mend her wounded heart, she makes a pact with the charismatic yet sinister Prince of Hearts. In exchange for his assistance, he demands 3 kisses to be given at his choosing. As Evangeline fulfills the first kiss, she discovers bargaining with an immortal comes with perilous consequences. The Prince of Hearts has deeper designs for her beyond their initial agreement. Now Evangeline must navigate a dangerous game where the stakes are high and the outcome promises either the ultimate happily ever after or a tragic fate of unimaginable proportions. Oh, it just really brings me back. I have to admit, I didn't love the first book. I found it okay and I was a little bit disappointed, as I love the Caraval series. However, I'm really hoping that I do love the next book, as I've heard nothing but good things about this series, so fingers crossed I enjoy it much more. And then lastly, for our show, we have the Festival of the Lion King, which again I'm really excited to see in person, as I've heard nothing but good things. I've seen vlog clips of it and it just looks incredible. The acrobatics just look insane, so I'm so excited to be watching it. And the prompt for that one is to read a TBR vet. So I scoured my These Books Will Self-Destruct shelf and I picked up Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. This is a YA fantasy romance that was released back in 2015, which shows you maybe how long this has been on my shelves. But the synopsis for this one: in a world divided between reds, commoners with no powers, and silvers and elites with godlike abilities, Mare Barrow from poverty-stricken stilts believes change is impossible. However, everything shifts when she discovers her own lethal power while working at the Silver Palace. Fearing her potential, the Silvers disguise Mare as a lost princess betrothed to a Silver Prince. Despite the deadly risks, Mare secretly aids the Red Guard, a resistance group to overthrow the oppressive Silver regime. Amidst a web of deception and treachery, Mare navigates a perilous path, facing off Reds versus Silvers, Prince against Prince, and battling her own conflicted heart in a world where betrayal lurks at every turn. I do think this sounds really good, so I don't know why I haven't got to it before now, but I'm really hoping that I can get to it soon and get it off my TBR. So there you have it guys, quite the ambitious TBR. Let's see how many I get to. Have you read any of these books? Please let me know down in the comments. Or are you participating in Magical Hopathon yourself? What are you picking for your prompts? Again, let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next one. Thanks for watching. Bye guys!